Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Ian Blackburn. Welcome to Zoom into Wine, and I'm so happy that you decided to give us your time this evening. We're going to taste some great wines on our virtual visit to Paso with three great winemakers and a really special presentation that we put together. We hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you for joining us. How's everybody doing? Mary Grace, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Wendy, hi. Sherry, hello. Good to have you. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us. Zoe, how are you? Thank you so much. Lisa, Tess, Jess, and Garth. All right. Got an awesome group together. Thank you guys for joining us. Susan French, you got the gang all together. Hello, hello. All right. Far out. Well, we've got some really fun wines for us to talk about tonight. There's some facts about Paso. You know, I believe Paso Robles has really become an elite wine zone for California. I think a lot of people are still discovering it. But there have been some great wines made in Paso for a very long time. There are over 40,000 vineyard acres and 200 wineries in Paso. And they've planted over 60 different wine grape varieties. So it's quite established. There's some really, really serious brands like we've got on the Zoom tonight. There's some bigger brands, there's small family-owned brands, tasting room-only brands. We're kind of doing this to encourage you to get in your car and get up to Paso and visit some great wineries and see some beautiful wine country. It's really great to do that. So we've got some really fun people together. They're all kind of like on the same side of town. So we're going to pretend to be driving some fancy vehicle from one spot to the other tonight, and we'll have fun with that. And let's get started. So here we go. First, get into my PowerPoint, and I'm looking for Sherman Thacker. Are you out there, Sherman? Hey there, buddy. Let me spotlight you.
Hi there.
Hey, Sherman.
How's it going?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
Excellent.
I am so excited that you're doing this with us. I'm not sure what just happened there, but I'm so excited that you're doing this with us because I was told about your wine brand recently, and I keep seeing it popping up with like amazing scores everywhere. It's super exciting to see all the great press that you guys are getting. And I just saw it today. You got a 93-point score on the Wine Enthusiast for some Cinsault, I think you're making.
Yep. Did that come up today? I did.
That popped up today.
Oh, excellent.
So, and some friends of mine were up in Paso and asked me about you. And I said, you know, I have never visited this winery. And they said it was really fantastic. So I started investigating and one thing led to another, and we're here today, and I love this wine that we're tasting tonight, man.
Awesome. Yeah, well, the Cinsault, you know, has been one of our little tangents we've been doing. We started that one in 15, which is not the wine we're tasting tonight, but, you know, we've been having great luck with that, and it's, you know, it's kind of a fun, lighter, a good, you know, summer and spring and late summer wine. You know, it's good to drink during the day, and definitely lighter on its feet than a lot of the other Paso wines. But anyway, today
right, Sherman, we're gonna play along. One second, we got a little game we're gonna play.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna pretend that we haven't talked to you yet, and just we're gonna get in our car here in a second. We're going to drive up to see you in just a second. So here's are the three wines that we're going to go visit today. We're going to taste the constant variable. That's going to be wine number 1. Wine number 2 from Law Estate. We'll learn all about that one. And then wine number 3 from Hammer Sky. So let's get in the car and get up to wine country. If you haven't been there before, you know, Paso fastest growing wine zone in all of California. California's largest geographic appellation. I didn't know that. I always thought it was Monterey County. Encompasses more than 40,000 vineyard acres. So maybe they're talking about largest geographic appellation is in total acreage. But more than 200 wineries. So that's from Paso Robles, wine country. And here's a nice little map. Can you help me point out where we're going to be there, Sherman, as we're driving up right now? We're kind of out around here, right, in the Adelaida district?
Yeah, pretty much right where that's a pretty good spot right there, I'd say.
Okay, so that's where we're going. So we're going to get off probably right up here. What's this exit on the road?
Well, actually, you take 101 south all the way down to 46 west, which is, you're coming closer to it. That dark one. And then you get on Vineyard, which is right there. And then you head up Vineyard and take that out.
All right, that's what we're about to do. Here we go. All right. So I'll provide everybody with a slideshow so you can see some specifics about each region of Paso. Much like Napa's got 16 sub-AVAs. Looks like we're looking at, 11 sub-appellations in Paso. So a little bit more to know than you might realize about Paso Robles. And here we go. I think we're driving like a Sherman tank here.
Yeah.
Is this a tractor?
It's kind of a advanced golf cart.
All right. How many total acres we got here?
So on this property, we have about 5 or 6 acres of vineyard. We've actually just removed a bunch after this most recent harvest, and we're going to replant this next following year, so next spring. We've already ordered material for it. We also have another vineyard that's closer to town, just off a road called Callan Canyon, and we have about 15 acres planted over there, and last year was kind of our first year of production over there.
What was this land being used for? Are those horse corrals or something like that?
Yeah, so this was a really pretty well-known horse breeding facility, and probably most famously, a guy called Lucky Baldwin owned it, and he's the one who started Anita racetrack, and he owned a bunch of property, but it was called the Kentucky Ranch, and you can see the KR on the barn there. A couple guys before him from Kentucky had started this ranch, and had really fired it up in the horse breeding thing, and then Lucky owned it for a while, and we gradually bought it and turned it into a winery spot. So
far out. And what was the name of that dog that was there to greet us?
That is uva, of all, the Spanish for grape. So
all right. Well, cool. Well, let's get a little wine in our glasses. We walk in. Sherman's there waiting for us. We're going to taste Constant Variable Central Coast Blend. And we'll taste this as you tell us a little story. We got a couple other slides to show, but this wine got 94 points in Vinous. Phenomenal score. They're very tough on scores, so that's a really good score.
Yeah, so this is usually the first wine we blend. We blend all our wines, or most of them, 99% of them, right after harvest from the previous vintage. So after harvest this year, being 21, we'll get into all our 20s and blend all those and get them ready. So it being the first wine, we have all our barrels available. Obviously, we're not putting any Bordeaux varietals in here, but the nice thing about that is it's kind of an open roadmap to how we get to put it together. So we've always tried to make it Grenache heavy, just because I really, for me, and personally, it's, winemaking is, you make what you like, it's like being a chef. You don't, luckily we're small enough where we're not kind of forced by any kind of market direction. We're able to make what we want to make. And so when we put this together, I really like the Grenache being up front, a light, fresh, attractive front palate, and then get into the kind of the heavier middle palate with some Syrah, and then onto the more Ved. We started putting this, a little bit of Counois in this 3 or 4 years ago. And really what that did for this blend was it drove kind of the Grenache, it accelerated the Grenache in it. And so it helps with that nice brightness going into this wine. And that's what I really like about this one is it has a nice kind of strawberry, bright fruit aroma, and that follows straight to the palate. And then as you get into the middle palate, you kind of get into the richer Syrah. We use 2 Syrahs in this one. We use Syrah from both Paso Robles and from Monterey County. And basically, warm and cool climate Syrahs do totally different things. The cooler climate Syrahs typically have a longer hang time, and so they're able to mature on the vines. They'll probably get a little bit more color. They'll retain acidity better, and they'll basically mature longer on the vine and yet not get too overripe. Whereas in Paso, with the heat, you've got to be super careful. We get some pretty good little blasts of heat here, and usually with that warmer climate, it'll soften a lot of the tannins and a lot of flavors and make the wine a lot more approachable. So with that, we blend these two together and kind of play them off each other, and that helps build the middle palate and longevity of the wine. So,
well, I think the nose is gorgeous. It's almost a type of wine that I have a hard time drinking because I want to smell so much of it. It's just really got this wonderful aromatic character. Grenache can range from, depending on where it's from and how early it's picked, in different types of aromatics. And I because this is a Rhone blend with these classic Rhone varieties, you can really kind of dive in there and smell some of that, the twisted black pepper. Get some really nice, like you said, lifted strawberry. I get just a hint of like tomato leaf because I'm thinking about it. Like classic Grenache Chateauneuf de Pape type of tomato garden, tomato leaf type of smells. And I was a bartender for a long time, and whenever I smell something with a lot of Grenache, I always smell like V8, like a V8, like that kind of tomato juice type of thing. Get a little bit of that, and but there's also just so much bright, fresh fruit. And a little vanilla. What kind of wood program is this C?
We've really been tapering back on our oak profile, and I'd say this one was sub 20% new oak. More and more, and I don't know, as you get older, your tastes change, but I prefer not having a lot of oak in my wine, and I'm becoming more and more sensitive to it. And the last couple of years, we've really backed off dramatically. I think I bought 3 barrels last year, and we used to buy as many as 40 barrels. So I think it's worth accentuating the fruit that we get out of the vineyards with some of these lighter, as we kind of back down on alcohols, these wines can't really accept too much oak without it being overbearing. So I really like the direction we're going, and I'm not sure if we'll be ever 100% neutral, but we're getting pretty close to that, because our policy here, over the last 6 or 7 years is, we're really not adding anything. We're We don't add water during harvest. We don't add acid. We don't inoculate any of our wines with bacteria or yeast. So it's all natural fermentation. And we don't add tannin or any, there's lots of things you can do in the winery to manipulate your wine. And because we're not doing that, we're really focusing on our pick dates and trying to get the fruit picked exactly when we want it. And because of that, we don't really want to add another thing, as far as like oak to kind of overpower what we're trying to do as far as bringing in this great fruit from the vineyard. So,
well, 14.3 alcohol too. You're probably one of the more restrained efforts in the neighborhood as well, right?
For sure. And it's just again, I can't say that I've always made wines that restrained. We make Zinfandel, so we've definitely got some bigger wines, but more and more I'm enjoying kind of the lighter framed wines, the more elegant wines, and it's the kind of wine I look for, when I want to drink on a daily basis, as opposed to something that's, you have to plan a whole dinner around. So we are experimenting with varietals such as Cinsault, and we've actually been doing a lot of experimenting. We've been making Valdiguet and Negrette, and this year we're going to get some Cabernet Pfeffer, and really having a good time working with some of these varietals that have been kind of kicked to the side over the years in California, and a lot of them were super popular until some of the more popular varietals such as like Cabernet took over. So anyway, yeah, we're trying to keep things kind of in check and not get out of control. So
you are not only the namesake of the winery, but also the winemaker?
Yes.
Cool.
But I have a great assistant winemaker. His name is Daniel Callan. He's been with us for about 6 years now, and has done a couple harvests. He did 4 harvests down in South Africa and 1 harvest over in New Zealand and Australia. And then he's from Virginia, and he did a harvest or 2 there. So we've been a great team, and we play off each other really well. And he's younger, so he's got a lot of maybe ideas that need to be tamed down a little bit. But I'm a person who enjoys doing experiments, and that's the only way to learn. So without experimenting, things get pretty boring. So
cool. And how much total wine are you making?
We're hovering in between 4,500 cases and 5,000 cases.
Cool.
I think we're not really planning on getting much bigger than that. It's a comfortable area for us. It's a manageable area for 2 of us to stay on top of everything and just make sure we have our fingers and in everything, and we're not losing track. So I think and with the traffic here in Paso, I think that's also just a good move. So that's kind of where we're hoping to stay for a while anyway. So
awesome. And you said that the immediate facility is around 6 acres of vineyard planted. How many total acres do you need to farm to get to 5,000 cases a year? Is that
so? We have about 5 or 6 acres here at the winery, but as I mentioned, we have another property which we have 15 acres planted.
Okay.
And we planted that about 5 years ago. Some of the blocks we have only just recently grafted. So last year we grafted about 1 acre of Carignan. So we'll get our first harvest out of that block this year. 2 years ago, we grafted Grenache, Cinsault, Zinfandel, and we also did a field blend, 1 acre field blend up at the top of our property, which is 11 different it's actually 9 red varietals and 2 white varietals, and it's just all blended together. So it's kind of a pre-made blend, and it's kind of done old school. They're all head trained vines, and we got a bunch of really cool old varietals from UC Davis, from their program. And so we have no option of picking those varietals separately. It's a pre-made thing, and so we have our first version of that in barrel, and it's got an amazing nose, great color, great aromatics, and a lot of structure to it. So I don't know how long we're gonna have to age it, but it's gonna be a fun project for sure.
Our Zoom tonight, Lisa Test was just at your winery on Tuesday and said it was a fantastic visit.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
And
You're welcome. It was quite lovely. I'm having the normal deviation.
Very good. You brought that back from the winery?
I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a Zin Petite Syrah blend, which is basically a normal deviation. There's a lot of Zin blends have some Petite Syrah in it. We've expanded things here at the property. We have some Alicante Boucher, and we might throw some Carignan in future blends from the other vineyards. So kind of following in the lines of some of the really iconic ridge blends where you see 85% Zinfandel, but some of these other varietals that can really act as good structure and color and really make the longevity of the wine a realistic thing. So
cool. Well, we tonight and many of our Zooms we tie in with our wine store, but these wines are available only at the winery. So if you want to join the wine club, looks like you got a fun club. We got a couple different choices where you can get a all red or a mixed club or double up, and some different choices there you could join. The wine that we're trying tonight is it on the website still?
I can't see where you're at.
Can you not see that?
That looks like some of our, it's not on there, but it is on the website right now. For some reason, it's not showing up on this screen.
Okay, we'll find it.
That is actually what you have up there is our a special club that we do in February. So it's got some, as you can see, it's got more Ved.
Oh, here it is.
Negrette, Cinsault. We actually made some cider off of apple trees off our ranch this year. So, but
all right. So
see, if you hit shop, it should be under there. But
let's go to shop.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of the wine.
Well, we'll make sure everybody gets a chance to buy this one because I know it's available at the winery. But what are we looking at here for this particular bottle of wine? Constant Variable 2017.
Yeah, we sell that one for $48. Huh. I don't know. Maybe we have a glitch on our website.
I'll try it on another browser. I'll find it. No problem.
Okay.
I think that the link was sent to me, so I'll make sure it gets included in our follow-up email tonight, and I'll send that out to everybody so you can get in touch and support this beautiful winery. And next time you're up in Paso, I hope you guys will go out and visit Sherman.
Yeah, come on out. I'm here 90% of the time. It's probably more than that, but we'd love to have you out here and visit all of us. We're all three of us wineries are within 3 or 4 miles of each other, so could make the whole loop pretty easily. So
Helga gave you a thumbs up. Jess, what do you think of the wine? You got that wine today? Did it make it to you?
Yes, it did. The first one was very smooth, very approachable and inviting.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the color, I can't get over the color. So thank you.
Glad you like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. Well, Sherman, it was really a pleasure to meet you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person at some point. I'll get up there. There's a bunch of things happening in Paso. but we wanted to kind of focus on some really cool stories, and you're one of them. And I've got some friends of mine that have been up to your winery and told me that I gotta learn all about this place. Kind of moving in towards very natural winemaking processes, and keeping it really fun and affordable, and yet really down to earth, and a really cool spot is what everything I was told. So
cool. Yeah, we're just trying to keep things as real as possible and not over manipulate the wine, and again, out in the vineyard, we're doing our part out there too, and farming very responsibly. I can't say we're farming organically, but we cut out Roundup a couple years ago, and we've been buying equipment to facilitate that, and it's a big learning curve trying to keep everything under control without some of these things that we've used over the past years, and we're really trying to rein it in and just be a responsible producer. So,
well, the glass wine that we just had will definitely send me knocking very, very soon. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Cool. Appreciate you having us on, and look forward to having you come visit.
Cool. And there was some chatter in my Facebook post promoting the event about a couple of chefs that really love you guys too. So we'll see if we can bring them along when we come up.
Yeah. Bring everyone up.
All right. Thanks so much, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Good
Appreciate
night.
it.
We're going to get back in our car now and go down the road, and let's do it. Everybody use the restroom. I don't want to leave anybody behind. Here we go. So a few years ago, I was able to hook up with Law Estate when they first got started. Of course, my brand, Learn About Wine, law school, and all that stuff. I loved the parallel, but then I went up and visited Law Estate, and you just get your kind of everything you expect about a winery kind of like turned upside down, because this is like the ultimate. I mean, everything about this place is badass. They've got a crazy hilltop location. They've hired the best names in the business to help build this iconic winemaking facility, and they even patented some of their technology, and just really made a name for themselves pretty quickly with a lot of top talent, and this iconic location, this beautiful winery. And so we'll visit Law Estate. I'm not sure how many of you guys have been there before, but we are very fortunate to have a meeting with Philip Thunder, the winemaker, the Thunder from Down Under. And we're looking forward to seeing Philip here in a second. It's going up the windy roads, getting a little elevation. Once you get a sense of it. Here we come. Here comes Law Estate on the left. Oh yeah. It is an appointment-based winery, so we want to make sure we have an appointment before we get there. And once we enter the code, you get buzzed in. Just another average beautiful day in Paso there. About you, but just getting out and driving around in the car has been kind of exciting in the last couple of weeks, as I see life returning and businesses opening back up. haven't gone into any of them yet, but I'm glad to see some people are brave enough to do that. Let me check this angle out here. Look at that view. Wow. And there we go. We're at the tasting room. Cool. And Philip, how are you doing, buddy? Good to
Unmuting myself. Does that work?
Yeah.
All right. How's it going, everybody?
Outstanding. Good to see you again, sir.
Yeah, you too. It was just a little while ago. We did the what was it? The Roan Warriors?
Roan Warriors, and you rocked it. It was
It was fun. That was a good tasting. We had some really fun wines that day.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that again next year for sure, and love to continue to show off. And we'll have to get Sherman involved in that too. We had a really cool turnout for that event. I think it blew everybody away. It blew us away. It was nice. We had expectations that we weren't even prepared for the success of that event. That just almost toppled us, but it was great. So really good to see you again. Now, Philip.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Philip?
I'm from Germany originally.
Wow.
So I grew up in Germany until I was 10. I was born in Munich. My whole family's German. And then I moved to America. I moved to Miami, of all places. Not exactly famous for wine. Famous for a lot of other things, but wine is certainly not one of them.
Were you a disco DJ by any chance?
No. But I ended up, I did my studies and undergrad in Miami in Florida. And then I moved to New Zealand to pursue a master's in enology and viticulture. Ended up staying in New Zealand for about 8 years, making wine there after I completed my master's, and worked at some pretty incredible places. Cumu River for 3 years. I was at Dry River. I was at Pyramid Valley Vineyards, a couple of different places in Hawke's Bay. So it was super fun. And while I was there, I was also doing half the year in the Northern Hemisphere. So for 3 years, I was at Chateau Angelus in Saint-Emilion. In France, and then I did 2 years in Napa as well. So 1 year I was at Hayden de Villaine, which is quite famous for their Chardonnays, some of the best Carnero Chardonnays there are, in my opinion, though my opinion might be biased. And then I also worked at Screaming Eagle the year before I joined the team at Law.
Wow, sounds like an amazing journey. That's awesome.
It was a fun journey for sure. But now I'm, I got some roots down. I've been at Law since 2016. This will be my 3rd harvest this year as head winemaker. So things progressed pretty quickly, but it was all just really good timing. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Let me go back into that PowerPoint, and let's see if I can get past this slide here. It wants to always play it again. Here we go. So
there we go.
So there's Philip, and this is the Law Estate facility, which most winemakers anywhere in the world would be pretty envious of this facility's capabilities. This is like the Empire Strikes Back, battle station type of a winemaking facility, not in a large way, in like a super high quality, high tech. Philip actually does it, makes all this wine sitting in a chair, right, Philip? Is that how automated it is?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. It's easy in the sense that it's mainly gravity fed. So one thing flows into the other. We very rarely use a pump except for during cold soak when we're doing just a gentle cap wetting. The real labor intensive part is, it's pretty much all punch downs. So we don't do a lot of pump overs. Cabernet sees a bit of delistage here and there and things like that, but generally speaking, it's all manual punch downs. Just like Sherman said, we utilize, give me 1 second, I just got to plug in here, guys. We utilize all native yeast, so we haven't used any commercial yeast on the property for quite a while. That's a big belief of mine. I feel like if you're utilizing, 50, 60, 100 different yeast species that are partaking in the ferment, you're going to end up with a more complex end product than if you were to just chuck in a monoculture that's known for producing XYZ characteristics. Furthermore, what does a yeast that was isolated in some part of Champagne have to do with our properties here on the western side of Paso Robles? I'd rather utilize the yeast that are here, that are part of the environment. They're part of the terroir. They're part of everything about this place. So I just think it's, in a way, it's being much more true to the place. And, we're really lucky to have some incredible land to work with and incredible climate. So speaking of climate.
Are you all estate? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that?
I'll wait. Oh, wait.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention it to Sherman. I don't know if he noticed, but, we're right on the border of Adelaida and Willow Creek. I mean, you could literally chuck a stone from one end to the other from parts of our vineyard. But I thought it was interesting because there was like 24 to 30 inches of rain in both of those. And I'm just wondering where all that rain's been, especially this year. So, we probably wish we were getting that much rain, especially this year, but that's part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think I read something in the Times today about it being declared a drought again. So we're in that phase.
Yeah.
But are you all estate winery?
Yeah. So we are 100% estate. So in the video, when you drove up the driveway, on your left there, that's the south side of the property, and there's about roughly 15 acres planted there. And then on the north side, which is the view that you get when you look out of our tasting room, it's that whole hillside, that kind of south-facing hillside. It's planted to another about 65. So we're just shy of 80 acres in total, of which not 100% is in full production. So we're still waiting for about 15 acres to kind of come into full production. We'll get some fruit off of some of those blocks this year. So at the moment we're hovering in the 5 to 6,500 cases a year, and once everything is in full production, we'll probably end up being closer to 85 to 9,000 cases a year.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. But all organically farmed and all estate. So
well, I just poured my number 2 into my glass, and we're gonna stay in the wow category on that color spectrum.
Yeah.
This is just tremendously dense and dark, Tempranillo.
And in a feminine year. 2017 was a very pretty, bright, feminine year that tended to express varieties more delicate and finesse side. So I think it's a beautiful year, especially for this wine, because it's just drinking better earlier. I think it's a wine that'll certainly cellar for a long time, but it's more approachable than in years past at an earlier age. So
this is basically like a Paso Rioja, yeah?
It is, yeah. So we get to we have 9 different red grape varieties on the property. So I really kind of get to wear a lot of different hats as a winemaker. We make wines that are reminiscent of Priorat with Audacious, which is Grenache, Carignan, Cabernet, and a touch of Syrah. We make Sagacious, which is a GSM, MGS, depending on what the vintage gives us. I prefer Mourvèdre or Grenache at the forefront of that kind of trio. And then we make this wine as well, which is an ode to Rioja in a way. So it's Tempranillo dominant at almost 50%. That's roughly kind of where it lives every year. And then Graziano, Grenache, and Carignan. Typically, there's a bit more Grenache than Graziano, but in this year, the Graziano was just so beautiful, and it really added to those kind of darker characteristics that helped make it a little bit more masculine in a feminine year. So we went with it in that blend percentage. And then we also have a touch of Carignan in this blend. So I think what makes this really interesting, and, the blending of Tempranillo and Graziano is something that's been done for a really long time. And I feel like Graziano is to Tempranillo what Merlot is to Cabernet. They're like peas in a pod. They really fit well together. One kind of has what the other one is lacking, but in very different ways. You know, Cabernet is often described as kind of being a donut. You know, it's kind of vacant on the mid palate. It's got all this tannin around the side of your mouth and all this power. But on the mid palate, there's a fleshiness that's missing. Merlot is all mid palate weight, fleshy, velvety, and you know, it has all of that. So that's why those two fit so well together. Tempranillo and Graziano, in my opinion, fit so well together because Tempranillo is big and broad and powerful, tannic and dark, but it's pretty flabby. It has a very high pH, especially in environments like ours, where we do have a good bit of heat. Graziano, on the other hand, is all focused blackberry tension and acid. I mean, it comes in at by far the lowest pH and the highest acid of any of our fruit every year. So when you blend the two together, you're giving each one of the wines what they're lacking, and you create something that's absolutely beautiful. Adding to that a good little chunk of Grenache at about 20% adds a little bit of a floral red berry characteristic. And then the Carignan is just one of my favorite varieties on the property. It's fiery, it's spicy, it's a mixture of berries that are almost impossible to identify. It's a variety that I love very much because it doesn't fit in any box. Depending on where you grow it, it can be very different. You know, Cabernet, no matter where you grow it, will have Cabernet characteristics and you'll be able to really pick them out. You know, those cassis, blackberry notes, black currant, those kinds of characteristics. With Carignan, it's really hard to pinpoint what berry it is that you're smelling there. It's like a compote of different berries and this fiery spice, and just it's just an incredible variety to work with. Sherman, you're gonna love this when it comes online this year, I'm telling you. It's the other reason why I love Carignan for us on our property is that it wants to grow on the western hills of Paso at high elevation with a lot of sunshine. It's just happy here. It's got tough skins. It's got these beautiful berries that seem to be impenetrable to, you know, disease and issues. So it's a variety that's easy on me. I don't have to worry about the Carignan. You know, we got a couple of days of 100 degrees coming our way. I worry about the Syrah, I'll worry about the Tempranillo, but the Carignan, I'm like, it'll be fine. Check on it next week, and it always is. And it comes in and it just looks like caviar. It's perfect, which is just incredible. So
cool. And what is that, a late ripening variety?
It's kind of right in the middle. It's certainly after Syrah, right around Cabernet for us. It really depends. One year to the other, it's a little bit different, but it is relatively late ripening. Yeah, I would say so. Or maybe that's just my preference. I tend to like to pick it pretty late. It's slow on sugar accumulation. So, you know, even if I pick it late, it's usually some of the lowest bricks stuff that comes in. It has these perfect numbers. It just, like I said, I think it's just suited really well to our environment. Whether that was a really lucky clonal selection for us or if it's just the variety. I think it's probably the variety.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good news for Carignan. It's going to be around for a while.
I hope so, yeah.
Well, just a beautiful sight to see.
Yes, that's actually a good chunk of this wine, this picture. So you can see a distinct difference right down the middle there from the main block that you're looking at. And it's got that little, it's like a reverse P. And the very, you know, that whole top section all the way on the left there, that's Carignan. And then that middle long section that butts up to the Syrah, that's obviously more vigorous, that's our Tempranillo. So that is a good chunk of this wine right here.
Very cool. Wow, it is amazing. And of course, you know, Paso is always known for its minerality and its limestone soils and really optimal grape growing conditions in Paso, with the caveat that they have enough water.
Yeah, well, you know, we do have wells on the property. I'm not a big fan of irrigation. I feel like if the vines need water, I'd rather give it to them now in the, you know, or even earlier when they're supposed to get it naturally, kind of. During the growing season and when there's actually, especially after veraison, I rarely ever water the vines at all. They just have to learn to deal and dig a little deeper for their source, and I think that's just better for them in the long run. It sounds mean, but I promise I'm not hurting any vines. So.
And are you involved in the actual viticultural side?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think any winemaker can attest to this. If you're not completely immersed in and involved in the viticulture side of things, you're missing the biggest part of it. All the magic happens in the vineyards, really. You need to be very involved. I do a lot of pruning in the winter time. I check on all the pruning work. And I'm part of every decision in the vineyards. So we have a great vineyard manager, Levi, who was at Tablas Creek for many years, and he's great, and we're good friends. So it's a really good relationship. We just kind of like, he's like, hey, remember, we got to do a little vineyard walk. We're thinking about doing this and that, and this is coming up next. So he keeps me kind of focused on that when I've got a lot of other things going on in the winery, and it's great. So
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a good picture of the vineyards in total. So this stuff on the bottom right in the forefront that you see there, that's on the winery side. So that's the south side of the property. And then from there, you look across and you see that whole hillside, and that is the north side of the property. So it's about 350 acres altogether, of which just shy of 80 acres is planted. So once it comes into full production, it'll be a handful.
I bet.
Good thing I don't have hair already, because I'll be losing it by the time all of this stuff is in full swing.
Yeah, well, hair's way overrated, man.
Yeah, I reckon.
Well,
so yeah, that's basically us there.
This site in the Law family, they purchased it in what year?
So I believe the original purchase was 2006, and then development happened pretty quickly, and the first vines went into the ground in 2007.
Amazing.
And then our first vintage was 2010. So 2007, 2008, most of the planting was done.
So you guys bring in the fruit over here in this area, and then send it down into the cellars, huh?
No, so it actually goes to the right there. So it goes straight in. That's the winery there, yep. And all the tanks are on the same level. So we get to just dump all the fruit via gravity and subs that have hydraulics on them directly into the 4-ton concrete fermenters that we have, as well as down a chute if we want to fill our 2-ton fermenters. And to be added this year, we've got a couple of 3-ton fermenters coming to kind of in anticipation of all this extra vineyard land coming into full production.
Nice. And here's a look at that.
Yeah, so that's the concrete tanks that are up on that shelf, kind of on the boat, on the platform that you see. Yeah, those are the 4-tonners, and then we have 2-ton stainless steel fermenters on the right there. And that catwalk that you see on the top where that sump is sitting, that's right on top. Literally the view from the crush pad into the winery. So you see the tops of the tanks there. We lift off those grits, and then we can just fill the tanks right there. So it's pretty easy in that regards. It allows me to have a lot of freedom as a winemaker, actually taste the wines every single day, make decisions on cap management and how much more to extract, how if I want to back off and this and that. And it gives me the freedom and time to actually do that, where if I was worrying about tank space and pumping things around and making room here or there because something else is coming in, you often kind of lose the time for that, which is it's nice because it gives that to me.
Outstanding. And how many interns do you have running around you?
So ironically, we did our largest harvest ever, which was 152 tons. That was 2017. That was our largest harvest at that point. 2019 was actually just as big, but a little bit bigger. But 2017, we only had 2 interns. So it's just Pete, my assistant winemaker, and myself, and then 2 interns. And as of late, we're always trying to get 4, but something always ends up happening. So we're happy with 3 if that works out. So yeah, it's usually 2 to 4 interns that we have running around, getting everything done.
You say yes to 4 interns, so you have 3 basically.
Yeah, guaranteed. Then I can get rid of one if something doesn't work out or something.
Right.
I'm sounding like a horrible person. I swear I'm not mean.
No, but that's the way it is. I mean, these guys are young. And,
no, it's just, things happen. Obviously last year we lost potential interns to COVID, where it was like, well, we can't take anyone international, which we usually do. Which is kind of a problem for this year as well, with the J1 visa still having a lot of restrictions. And people bail on you. We had one intern in 2017 call us the week before harvest and say, "Oh, I'm not coming. I decided to go back to school." And that wasn't very cool, because a week before harvest starts, you're not going to find anyone else. So
yeah,
you never know what happens.
That is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a tasting room here.
So that's the tasting room. And if you look out that big door right there, that looks straight across at our vineyard. So that's a perfect kind of situation where you can really kind of soak in the property and the beauty of the area, it's just absolutely beautiful out on the western hills of Paso Robles. It's a very special place, which is something that drew me to Paso. So I was lucky to work at some pretty incredible properties throughout my career, and I feel like you always get a sense for this is a special place when you see it and when you walk the vineyards and when you taste the wines. And I certainly got that sense in 2015 of Paso Robles when I passed through on kind of like a little R&R trip with the Screaming Eagle team, and we ended up tasting at Saxum and at Booker, and I was pretty floored at the quality of the wines. At that point, I honestly didn't know that California did Rhone varieties that well. I was absolutely blown away. So I kind of put out the feelers and decided, like, hey, if I'm gonna come back to America and kind of settle down and find a spot, Paso would be on the very top of my list. So yeah, long story short, here I am.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate your time tonight, man. Great to see you. This is another beauty, and we will send a link to folks to sign up for the mailing list. We do carry a couple of the Law Estate wines at our site, but you want to join the wine club here at Law Estate and get involved, so that you can go up and tour and taste and visit Law and get invited up there for some special things that you guys are doing. Your team is awesome, and thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate having you here. All right, so we continue on with our journey. We're gonna go head down the road. Let's see if our friend Doug is on the Zoom tonight. Doug, are you out there? Gotta see if I can catch Doug or not. Let me see. Check my correspondence here. Doug was having a hard time earlier, so we gotta make sure. I'll fill in for him if he can't make it onto the Zoom. But we are going to head down the road to Hammer Sky. And Hammer Sky Vineyards, where it's just a beautiful little place that you go and you feel like you're at home. They have a wonderful outdoor facility. I've been on property there with Doug and his team on numerous occasions. I haven't been there in probably 2 or 3 years. I checked in with Doug to see how things are going, and they're going very well. And we talked about this event, and he wanted to show off something that's only available to the wine club. So we're tasting this really fun straight out of the barrel. It's kind of a really interesting, unfiltered wine that we're going to try tonight. I don't know if you guys can see the package that this baby came in, but there's Doug, and Doug is quite a hands-on guy. He when I met him, he was still practicing as a dentist down in Newport Beach, and this was his dream to build up this property, and spent the last 15, 20 years doing so. And you go up to Hammer Sky and see this beautiful little property, and they have just a really like small boutique type of a tasting environment. They make a number of interesting wines, and this is called Vampire. That's what we're tasting tonight, and that's the packaging. It's aged in Booker bourbon barrels. So that was the idea, is to get some Booker bourbon, I think, out of the deal. But he got some of the barrels as well. And if you pour a little bit in that glass of yours and taste it with me. Small amounts of Cabernet Sauvignon and Zinfandel. And then this silky, velvety finish from the Merlot. It's a beautiful representation of the estate as a whole. Now, I am not sure if this wine is fortified. That was going to be a question that I asked him, because I assumed it would be. But we've got, says on the back of the bottle, soils are Linicolado, slope is northeast, harvest is October 13th. The yield is 2.5 tons per acre, hand-picked, eco-friendly, and straight, bottled straight from the barrel without any filtration or fining. But maybe I thought it was fortified because he used the bourbon barrels, but does not appear to have any fortification. Aged French oak barrels, special release. I'm sorry, my eyes are actually really not very good anymore, so I'm going to put on my reader so I can see the rest of this. All right, so this is a special release of the pure estate-grown juice with all of the heart and soul that lies in the sediment. Beyond the scenes, Doug says, these wines are excellent, made with purpose and passion. It's a limited release. It's an estate wine. It is available to the wine club. It's probably available on the website, but made in small amounts. And this is our closing wine for the evening as we visit Paso. And I'd love to get some comments on the Hammer Sky Vampire. I think we saw a full spectrum of wines tonight. Watching Thatcher show us some very elegant, restrained, beautiful purity in the fruit. We saw Philip show us some super exciting, low yield, really extreme type of growing condition wines that have just the incredible personality of the Law Estate and Philip's touch. We also then go down and see a wine that's made from a small family farm with some really interesting intention, using the bourbon barrel and this really cool package. I mean, I think people see it and they're like, love the glass and love the wax top. This is just really a fun way to go. And the flavor is big and ripe. It's juicy. It's got that Zinfandel type of ripeness and richness, and big and bold, and that's kind of Doug as well. He's got a big personality, and it's not afraid to show it off in his wines. The wines are generally pretty ripe and pretty rich off of his estate. Hammer Sky it's named after his kids, Hammer and Skylar, and that's how they came up with the name. And they're out there every day, giving it their all and making a small family operation. And that is our tasting for this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed visiting Paso with me, and I want to thank our winemakers for joining us tonight. Philip, Sherman, you guys are champs. Thank you so much. And I'm sure Doug would wish that he could be here, but he was having some problems, so he was trying to fix things and get on. I know I didn't do him quite the justice that he deserves, but get up there and visit Hammer Sky. I think you guys will enjoy visiting these 3 properties that are within a stone's throw of each other, all on that same route in the back there. And Paso's just a super fun place to visit. There's so many new places, and if I can help you make an appointment at any of these places or any others, please use me as a resource. I'd love to refer people and send you up there. Sherman, I'm sure I'll be sending you some folks, and Philip, I always talk to your team about making some special appointments and it's time to do that. It's time to get out of the house and get up there. So I hope you guys enjoyed our presentation. Thanks so much, guys. Pleasure. Everybody have a great night, and I hope to see you soon. For those of you that haven't seen our Zoom into Wine website recently, I want to encourage you guys to check it out, because we are working hard at making some really fun things happen. And we do have 2 websites that we're going back and forth as we're developing our business. We didn't get started, we've been in business 25 years as an event business. And so when we pivoted, we started the wine store, Merchant of Wine. Got lots of great wines. We deliver for free in Los Angeles, and $10 anywhere in California. So if you guys up in Paso need some European classics, you let me know. But we're going out to Chianti next Wednesday. We got Master Sommelier Josh Orr on the Zoom, and we're meeting with the Bindi Serengeti family, some of my favorite Chianti Classico. It is absolutely outstanding. There's nothing better. There's a lot of good Chianti Classico. Nothing is better than this 700-year-old estate. 700 years. They've been around since 1349. Then next weekend, we're doing 89 versus 09. These are 100-point wines that we're tasting. That's what they've got in common. They're all Bordeaux's, and we're just going to kind of take a look and do a little blind tasting and see if we can kind of really extract the most out of these 4 wines blind. There's only a couple spots left for that tasting. We're going to be hanging out with Native 9, 9th generation land groomer, James Ontivares. He is an awesome Pinot producer. He's going to be on our Zoom. We're going to do a vertical tasting of 12, 13, and 14. His Pinot Noirs are outstanding, and I want you to learn all about it from the man himself. We're going up to Monterey for one of these visits on April 17th, and we've got 3 of the best in Monterey coming onto our Zoom. I can announce Wrath is one of them. We're going to visit with Jeff Cohn and some of his great wines from all over Northern California. One of the champion winemakers. He's been, one of the wines he's made has won the Wine Spectator Top 100 #1 spot many years ago, and he just thrills with his winemaking style. Our big event in April is the Stars of Italian Wine. It's 2 nights with some awesome people. And that requires you to purchase it from Learn About Wine, because that's what we do at Learn About Wine now. We're producing these events, and we've got Giovanni Folinari and Alberto Chiarlo. We're going over to Tenuta de Becerra with Nicole Lenzi. We're going to hang out with Amadeo Moretti, and then Salvador Santos over at Agricola Ponica on the island of Sardinia. Then on night 2, we're back in Sardinia. We're down in Sicily. We're up in Piedmont. We're over in Tuscany. We're staying in Tuscany. We're going to hang out with Count Francesco Cinzano. And then we're heading down to Tarazi, off the hills of the volcano just south of Rome. And so super event, and it's just going to be the highlight of our month. We hope you guys will join us for Stars of Italian Wine. Tasting kits are $50 each night. You can do both for around $100, and that includes delivery. So join us. There's also bottle kits available if you want to get a little group together, or a family type of an operation, or maybe send them out of state. You can do that too. We're gonna have like 100 people on that Zoom for Stars of Italian Wine. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So join us, and I thank you guys for your support. Have a good night, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you all really, really soon. Bye now.